Welcome to the Marketing Cheat Code podcast, where smarter marketing creates accelerated growth.
Welcome to the Marketing Cheat Code, the show where we uncover the strategies, innovations, and creative systems behind real business growth. Today, we're talking about an area that's often overlooked, how construction, property management, and real estate development brands can actually market like modern businesses. These are industries built on concrete and contracts. But in 2025, success also depends on data, storytelling, and digital first. And joining me here in the studio today is Nikki Gist. Nikki is the founder and CEO of Hello Marketing, a full-service agency known for bringing fresh, sustainable, and people-first marketing to spaces that aren't exactly famous for being early tech adopters. Nikki and her team have carved out a reputation for helping builders, developers, and management firms connect with audiences through creative digital campaigns that drive leads and build trust. We'll talk about what's changing in these industries, what's holding them back, and how smart marketing powered by technology and empathy can turn even old school sectors into brand powerhouses. Nikki, welcome to the Marketing Cheat Code.
Thank you, Tracey. And you got my last name right. Usually people don't.
I took a guess, but I figured. Nikki.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so thankful for you to be here as well. Nikki, you built Hello Marketing into a trusted agency in some of the toughest, most traditional industries out there. How did this niche focus come about?
Yeah, so I think I have a different and interesting story. So like most people, you graduate high school, you go to college, and well, I thought I was going to be a rockette because I danced my whole life and and then I had an injury and I was like, well, I guess that's not going to happen. So I ended up teaching dance and I went to school for marketing and PR. And I thought, I'm going to work in fashion. This is going to be it, right? I'm going to work in New York. And I ended up getting into retail and I hated it. And I was like, this is not for me. So I did that for about 7 years. And then I took a little break. And by a little break, I mean like 2 weeks because I'm a doer and that's about all I could manage. And I'm like, I would say like 26, it was 27 at this point. And I'm like, I'm going to figure out my life. But while I figure out my life, I'm going to do like a little part-time job because I cannot sit still. And so there was this commercial construction and landscape company that was hiring for office help 2 days a week. And it was kind of local. And I'm like, you know what? I could do this. Let me just go answer phones and like, let me just reset and figure it out. Well, I fast forward 10 years later, I went back to school, took my test to become a certified construction project manager. I ended up running the jobs and learning everything in construction from soup to nuts. I started in construction sales, estimating, negotiating these multi-million-dollar deals, and then moving into project management and full-scale operations. And oh my gosh, Tracey, it's just like herding cats, And I think like a lot of PMs, 10 years is about your max in construction project management. With COVID, as horrible as COVID was, I think a lot of us created a lot of beautiful things, right? We had a lot of opportunities that came our way, and the construction industry changed, but not totally. And it became a new normal. And I was doing a lot of side consulting at the time. And how are we navigating this new normal? And all of a sudden, with everything being shut down, everybody was like on their phones and online. And you're like, well, here's prime real estate, right? And so I had all this side work of, okay, can you do my social media? Can you do, because you're in the field, Nikki, you know how to do the marketing for you. You have the background, the education, and the field experience. And so that's what I did. And I have a wonderful support system. And it was like, we're just going to do it. Just there's no perfect time to go off on your own. It was as close as you were going to get. And I feel like COVID was a good time to take that chance. Even though things were uncertain, it was kind of comforting in the uncertainty that like you could take a shot and at some point things might level off. So I bet on myself and here I am 5 years later. And we are just really, really making headway in the AEC space and property management and real estate space. But like you said, it's very old school. So there's been a lot of challenges along the way. But I think to my credit, being able to walk into a room full of men, right, and say, I can speak your language, or I built this building that we're sitting in. It levels the playing field immediately. So yeah, that's how I ended up sitting here today.
Fascinating. You are I would like to say whole home marketer, because you know every facet of the business you're marketing. And most times we don't know the
Yeah.
businesses that we market. We have to entrench ourselves in the subject matter, but you know it is at its truest form.
Yeah, I like to stick to things I know
Yeah.
and stay in my lane. I'm a Virgo, so I'm like, if I
Me
know
too.
it, oh,
Yep.
there you go. So it's like I only like to talk about things I know about, and if I don't know, I will find the answer, and
Mhm.
then I'll study on the side, and then I'll make sure I really know what I'm talking about before I. And that's not to say we don't do other brands, because the way we market and our technique, could be different. But this is really the industry that is very much so far behind the times, and they really need to just like come into 2025 a little bit here. And I'm sure we'll get into that, but yeah, I kind of just like to stay in my lane,
Mhm.
let other people do health and beauty and fitness, and you go do that. Go do what you do really, really well.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy.
Wow. So what was that aha moment, Nikki, that told you construction and property management companies needed a better way to communicate and market themselves?
You know, I had an aha moment kind of right before I went off on my own. I'd gotten a consulting job, and it was for a builder in the city, and it's more on the ops side, and everything was just such a disaster. And I charged what I thought was a fair price. I probably shot a little too high, and they didn't push back. And I was like, market price set. Okay. I can charge this. And so as I'm doing this and I'm hearing all these stories, and I'm saying to people, like, everybody's home, right? And they're like, how do I get jobs now? Because construction is this backdoor handshake deal. I know it for, let's not pretend that doesn't go on, right? The most certainly does go on, and we all know that. But those days were slowly, going by the wayside, and it's not like that anymore. And so it became, well, how do I get business? Everybody's home. We can't put our crews out there like we normally do. What is this new normal? And then I was just thinking in my head, okay, if the ops are a mess and they definitely don't have marketing, they don't have sales, the business is lacking. Oh, let me just put this all together, and let me just start explaining the point of everyone that, like, this is this phone that we carry in our hands. This is real estate right here. That's your 24/7 salesperson. When things like COVID hopefully don't ever happen again in our lifetime, like when those things happen and you're trying to figure out, what do I do? Well, you don't have to play catch up, because you have that space, you have those eyeballs. And so really it was the first aha moment for a lot of things for me to put it all together and go, oh, wait, I can charge this price. Someone really does think and respect that I know what I'm doing. And oh my gosh, I can tie the ops, the sales, and the marketing all together into one big consulting package. And then these people stay with you for they stay with you for years and years and years. And so that was really that moment where it kind of, I don't want to say it all clicked, but it really did. I was just like, wait a minute, it's been sitting in front of my face the whole time.
Wow. That is really a fascinating, like, kind of 360 story almost, you know? Hello Marketing has an emphasis on sustainability and human connection. How does that translate into your day-to-day campaign philosophy?
So I am all about authenticity, and it's something we preach to all of our clients. And my little side story is, with COVID, I also started a football podcast 5 years ago. And I went on a friend's podcast, and I'm a big Giants fan. And he was like, well, I'm doing an NFC East panel. I'd love to have a female, maybe one day we talk about that. Just being, sometimes I'm like, did I get the opportunity because I checked your box? But you know what? I just kind of have to, I guess, take it sometimes. And so I go on this panel, never did a podcast in my life at that point. But I'm like a yes person, just say yes when it comes your way. So I do the sports podcast, and it takes off. And we grow and we grow and we grow. 4 years ago, I'm contracted with a news publication called Jersey Sporting News. They were a newspaper. They wanted to move to an all digital platform because of COVID. All these things come out of COVID.
Mhm.
And they contract with us to help them navigate. Ownership is a little older and trying to navigate this new normal. Out of that, they find that I have this podcast, I have all this sports content, and they call me and say, have you ever thought about sports reporting? And I said, no, I'm not a journalist, I'm a marketer. And they said, well, do you want an opportunity? And I was like, I just want to be clear, I'm not a journalist. I interview people on my podcast, but like, That's it. And they go, well, do you want this? I said, okay, fine. Where are you sending me? Like, I live in Red Bank, so Red Bank Catholic in New Jersey. I don't know. Fine. They said, well, actually, you're going to the New York Giants. And I almost fell over. And I was like, wait, what? So fast forward now, I cover the Giants, the Jets, the Eagles, Big East basketball. I've done Super Bowl and All-Star Weekend. And I say that to tie it in, a long way of trying to tie it in. It all came from content and it all came from being authentic. And so I always say to my clients, I am my own best case study. I did not take the traditional route to sports podcasting and entrepreneurship, right? Like I really am like that grassroots kind of person. Like the doors of opportunity were in front of me and I walked through it. And you know what, if I hated it, but I had to try it. And so we carry that with us in everything that we do. And if a client, is, well, I want to just, be a robot, they're not going to be a good fit for us. And it's funny, right before I came on here, I was giving metrics to one of my clients. For a company LinkedIn page is tough. And we've just been blowing it out of the water and the engagement is crazy high. It's exceptional. And I said, it's because you're authentic. It's because you guys know who you are as a brand. We know what the brand story is. And that's what we put out to the masses and people connect with that. And so it is very much a part of everything we do. And the sustainability part is, listen, we're opening other branches in Miami and DC and Chicago. And Chicago is very much about young professionals and sustainable building. And, we have these new initiatives coming in. It's funny, you think marketing, you don't have to be up on the economy and the laws of each state, but you do. And so we need to know these things because there's new building regulations and, we have clients in the city of Class A, Class B, Class C property. So there's all these things we need to know. And sustainability and sustainable building has really not hit its stride yet. And so I think that's something we're very early on. And we have a lot of clients who hold that very near and dear to their heart. So that's part of what we're trying to get out there too as their brand story.
Let's talk construction and real estate marketing. So construction and property industry have historically lagged behind in digital adoption. Where do you see the biggest shift happening right now?
So about 3 years ago, I was standing in my kitchen trying to explain to my parents what I do for a living. And they just were like, I don't get it. And I said, you know what? In a couple of years, the construction industry, property management, real estate, they're going to wake up. And I think we finally have everybody waking up. And what's happening is a lot of these companies are family owned and the parents might be aging out. And now the kids are taking over and they're going, I have no brand. I have no digital presence. I have no brand. And also what's happening, Tracey, is a lot of these companies are losing work to the companies that have a digital footprint. They have a project portfolio. You have to give people somewhere to land. I always tell it's 2025, so I'm going to look you up. Anybody, at least go to your LinkedIn page, see if you have a project portfolio, right? And so I think it's younger property managers and project managers and procurement managers coming in the industry now. And I've been saying this for years. You can't ignore the younger people coming into these industries that are going to be decision makers. And it's just kind of all melding like I thought it would with some of these kids taking over and people recognizing like I've got to get with the times. And I mean, we're talking about people who think like they're still printing emails and they think everything they see on Facebook is true. And so it can be challenging sometimes.
I can't imagine. But yeah, you can't even change a light bulb in my house without me looking you up. So I completely get where you're going with that. What
Yeah.
trends are reshaping how these businesses connect with clients and tenants? Is it social media? Is it AI-driven targeting? Is it just the sustainability storytelling or something else?
I think it's a little bit of everything, right? We can't ignore the AI aspect of marketing and where we're at. And I think everybody's on a different level. I think if you've been in marketing, you've been playing with ChatGPT for 3 years now, right? You've already kind of had that. And I think there's a resistance to it, and I do understand it. But I think we'll all be better off if we embrace it and learn how to use it in a way that makes our day easier and a little bit better. I'm sure you've dealt with this in your business. Putting a ChatGPT caption up is not marketing. That's not a campaign. That's not telling a brand story. So there's breaking that. But I think it's important that we, learn how to use it in a way that makes everybody it's easy to get everybody on the same page. Automate your life in the best way that you can. And I'm all about embracing it and learning how to use it the right way. But there's a lot of resistance to that in the industry. And it is social media. I've seen people say, oh, social media is going away. I don't think it's going away. I think it's changing. I think this influencer culture is kind of done. Like, I'm kind of done with it myself. Right. I just want to just see real people and real brands out there. And that's what I think it is. It's always going to ebb and flow. But that's kind of where we're at now. I notice for construction, there's a lot of resistance to TikTok as well. So where we kind of got to break some of these mindsets here.
Absolutely. What pain points are you noticing with the shift over for your clients? Because I know, especially in real estate and in property management, it's always a friend telling a friend or a referral. What has been the hardest struggle of moving your clients over to the other side of smart, intelligent marketing?
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. I mean, my friends, accountants, brothers, cousins said that I'm supposed to do this. And I think they talk to so many different people, right? And it's like, just listen to what we tell you. I promise you, I'm not steering you down the wrong path. Sales 101, know you, like you, trust you. They have to trust that your solution is going to get them where they want to be. And marketing's tough because there's no instant gratification. It takes time, especially if you're starting with nothing.
Absolutely.
Work with a lot of people who don't even have a LinkedIn page. So you really got to get that even up and going. And so I always tell people, just forget the first 90 days that we work together, because that's really, it's 2025. A lot of times I'm cleaning up from a previous, I'll call it a marketing company, but like you said, it's somebody's friend's brother's cousin who was doing the marketing, and it's not right. And we have to kind of redo things. And so, yeah, I run into that challenge quite a bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. From an operational gap perspective, like when you're onboarding those clients in the first 90 days in this sector, what are those gaps you're seeing? Like no CRM, poor tracking. We know it's no
Zero.
branding, but
No branding, no CRM. I think if people realize how many companies out there don't have a CRM, I hear it every day, multiple times a day. I don't have a CRM. I'm like, sales and marketing go hand in hand. I know a lot of people think they're separate. Sales, biz, dev, marketing are three separate jobs and job functions, but they should all talk and be cohesive so that the message is the same, so that the goal is the same. And so to not have a CRM, even a basic level CRM, I know I say this to companies all the time, you fall down on your sales and in your follow-up. And so, yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest ones. No CRM, no tracking, can't find the password, and have no idea how to get on their website, have no idea who's done their website. Like, it's just so disjointed.
you're cleaning up a lot of messes, I can imagine.
Yes.
So I know in my subject matter expertise, I am constantly having to defend the value of marketing strategy, especially for clients that see this as an expense rather than a revenue generator. How do you work around that? Because I can imagine it's twice as hard sitting at a table full of, like you said, men largely have been in this industry and kind of, you know, ran it for years. How do you break through to that type of client?
Think because I was there in the field, right? And to be able to sit across from someone and say, I understand your lingo. I understand your pain points because I was that person having to deal with it. Once you do that, it's kind of like the walls come down a little bit. And, my sales process takes a little bit longer because I have to spend a few meetings kind of explaining almost what marketing is. Because when they are on social media, they're getting these ads, right? They think it's a class or they think it's like some boot camp, and it's not really that. And we deal with a lot of a lot of people in the commercial space, or commercial real estate, or commercial real estate developers, or interior designers who are designing hotels. And so they want the developers and architects and engineers. And you know what? That's not the SEO residential ad word. And so people think marketing, they think SEO and I got to run ads. It's like, no, that's not it. It's completely different. The messaging is different. The branding is different. It's relationship based. We need to tell your brand story. And so I have to probably spend, I would say, maybe at least 2 meetings of kind of really explaining why this is different and why our approach is going to eventually get you the results you want. And I lay the expectations out right away. I'm like, you're looking at least a year. You could hit your stride in 6 months where you walk in a room, people will know who you are and what you do. And we do get people there, but it's at least a year. And then after that, you don't stop. You just keep going. So it's this tough because you're asking for someone to invest. And I frame it as an investment. And we're truly your partners, right? Your success is my success and vice versa. And it's challenging. There are some people out there who are like, no, I'll just use ChatGPT or my office manager can do it. And I'm like, okay, well then when you get, a half-baked result, I don't want to hear it. You either go all in and do it the right way and know that this is going to be a change and you're going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to be miles better than where you are now, even in 90 days. So it's really, I don't even call it a sale. It's just a mindset shift and conversation. And if that pain point is enough and they're like, which happened to me a few weeks ago, like had a client who lost 4 jobs to companies that have project portfolios.
Yeah.
They signed a contract right away.
There you have it. Those who know they need you, right?
There you go. Why waste time?
Yeah, why waste time? Your industry typically has long sales cycles, right?
Yes.
How do you keep audiences engaged during that dead space between awareness and conversion?
So I am very heavy with my content on LinkedIn, and I know that they're following me. I know that they see me. It's interesting. I just got a message on Friday from a company that had been following me for a year. And they were like, we're finally ready for the conversation. We love everything you're doing in construction. So you truly never know who's watching you. I realized this week between the sports stuff and the marketing that fans are silent and haters are very loud. That is what I have learned. And so you never know. Just because someone doesn't engage with you doesn't mean in 6 months they're not going to message you and say, I really love everything that you're doing. I love your content. So it is hard. You have to keep that pipeline full. And it's not just one size fits all. So between all of the content on LinkedIn and I'm at events all the time or doing things like this and going on podcasts and just expanding that reach and just get yourself into new rooms, meet new people, right? You can't just stay stagnant or your pipeline's going to stay stagnant, and you got to put that business hat on, right? It's, of course you care, but it's got to fill the pipeline. You can't get too attached. You just kind of have to keep pushing forward. You got to keep going. So yeah, you can't take your foot off the gas. You can't ever get too comfortable.
Yeah, totally. So let's switch gears and talk a little bit of marketing innovation and AI integration, if you don't mind. So AI is shaking up everything from copywriting to campaign targeting. How do you see AI impacting marketing for construction and property management clients?
So I think on one side, it's going to be very cool because there's some really awesome software that's coming out that's going to bring plans to life. And I think that's going to be awesome. Instead of putting a rendering out, we can actually walk you through the building or what the conception is going to be. And then you can visualize it, right? Oh my gosh, we can walk through a rendering. It doesn't just have to be a picture. So that's going to be really cool. And I'm excited for it. But on the flip side, the other side, we have to be careful because it's getting hard to tell some of this, what's real and what's not. And, I get a little concerned, not for I think it's going to take our jobs. I don't think it is. I think people are going to hit a point where they're just going to say no. But it's like we talked about, if you can use it to bring a building to life that's just in concept on an engineer's desk, and it's like, oh, this is so cool. Let's show you what this hotel is going to look like. Because I want to imagine you there. I always say in real estate, people are like, oh, I can't sell this building or I can't sell the house. And I'm like, sell the zip code, sell the lifestyle. That's what we do. Full storytelling, right? We taking it from the GC all the way to the interior designer, sell the zip code, sell the whole story. So I think in terms of that, AI is going to be great and I'm very excited for it. But I do get concerned that some people see things and they think that it's real. And, you and I can probably spot a fake, but not everybody can. And so I think there's good and bad, and you kind of have, just like anything, you kind of have to weigh it out a little bit. But I think also in terms of an operational standpoint, it's going to make everybody's lives a lot easier in construction if those people embrace it.
Yeah, totally. So I take it that you have started experimenting for your clients with predictive analytics, virtual tours, AR tools to enhance buyer experience.
Yeah. And not all of them are open to it. It's scary, but that's where we start planting the seeds, right? And you
Yeah.
just kind of do a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And listen, I'm never going to force it, but I do think the companies that open their mind a little bit,
Mhm.
they're going to be better off this time next year in the long run because they're not playing catch up. I'm meeting people who are like, I don't even know what Copilot is, or I just learned it, or what's ChatGPT. And I'm like, come on, everybody. Just kind of like, let's just get with it a little bit. I think you should try it. You should try it and see, right? So yeah, we've experimented a little bit with it.
Yeah, that immersive experience around AR and, the
Yeah.
headsets that are coming
Yes.
out, it's nothing like it,
No.
and to compete with that, with traditional marketing in this particular industry just seems like it's a waste of money because and I'm sure you've experienced the AR environment,
Yes.
the immersive.
Yes. It's very cool. It's
It's
very cool.
amazing, yeah.
It really is.
What about automation? What's your clients' take on, like, because this is such a traditional business and owners are they starting to get on board with more like the automations process to
No.
keep them ahead of the grain? No.
No. Maybe a few here and there, but it is still so fresh and so new. I'm like all about it. If I can automate all my emails and our CRM and everything we need to upload and I'm all about it, but trying to get people on board with it, even down to like using apps for, your text messages. You copy and paste, you can text your clients or somebody in your pipeline you haven't reached out to, or maybe it's just a friend and it's not business related, but right? Like there's so many advancements and they're just kind of like, no, no, no,
Mhm.
no. I still want to write my notes on a paper plate that I ate my lunch on. So we're working we're working on it. Yeah.
So the real estate and construction worlds are facing some rise in material costs, slower financing cycles, and a really
Mhm.
kind of volatile labor market right now. How are those pressures influencing your clients' marketing decisions? Do you find yourself having to fight for your dollars?
Yeah, especially in the beginning of this year. I think 2025 was rough for everybody,
Mhm.
right? And we can't pretend that economic factors and elections don't play into that because they do. And I think everyone was holding so tight to the chest and those purse strings were really, really tight. And so, everyone's freaking out. And I doubled down and I was like, no, we'll go to more events. We're doing more content. We're getting out there. And I invested more in the marketing because I knew and my cycle for the past 5 years is September's a big month. Like September, October, November is big, January, February, March. And so I just kind of doubled down and I said, listen, the agencies that have the grit to
Yeah.
hang in there during the tough time, it's gonna pay off. And sure enough, we've had an amazing September, October so far. It paid off, but you have to have that fortitude. It's tough, believe me. Every day, like, oh my God, like you want to throw up, right? But you just
Mhm.
had to hang in there and you had to double down. And it definitely affected our clients, right? It affected everyone because projects weren't moving forward or they were awarded a project and then everybody was in this holding pattern and our tariffs coming through.
The cost.
I, all these things, all of these
Yeah.
things. And it's so it's crazy, but we have to be aware. And I think some things have leveled out. One of the biggest problems in this industry is just everyone going for the lowest bid. And I've never seen lowest bid work out in anyone's favor. You just have to always come back, or there's change orders, or maybe that contractor went out of business. It's tough, especially if you're doing state work here in New Jersey. But I think things are starting to move. There were some projects I know that were halted and now are resuming again. So it's been rough. We've had a fight for it, but like I said, if you're gritty enough, you'll hang in there and you'll come out on the other side.
With all these changes, are you seeing like your clients, are they more focused on retention or new lead generation? Do they want to keep the tenants and maintain client relationships? Or are they like looking for new frontiers?
Yeah, I think, for a majority of this year, it was retain, right? And get more. How do you, how do you get more revenue? Go deeper with your existing clients. And I've noticed, I would say the past 6 weeks or so, 8 weeks maybe, everyone's kind of shifting into like, okay, new business, biz dev, I kind of want to see what else is out there. And I always say to everybody, like, if you got a lead problem, you have a marketing problem. If you have a lack of new opportunity, you have a biz dev problem. If you have
Yeah.
a lack of closed deals, you have a sales problem. And I teach a lot of branding classes, and that's like the basic thing that I teach. So I always ask people to clarify, well, do you want leads or are you looking for new opportunities? Because that's biz dev. And they kind of, again, they all flow together. So Yeah, I'd say it's always a mix because you don't want to ignore one or the other, and you
Mhm.
don't ever want all of your eggs in just one basket, right? And I've seen clients get into that position where one developer's feeding them all these projects, and then you have a year like 2025 and everything halts, and you're going, "Oh my God, Nikki,
My
I'm going out
God,
of business." No, no, don't call me. I can't help you like that.
can I help you? That's hilarious. Let's shift to your agency.
Okay.
What's your biggest challenge with scaling Hello Marketing? Is it people? Is it process? Is it
I think for me it's people. I take a long time to hire, but I'm very quick to fire. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
Virgo tendencies?
Yes. It's just I know when it's not working, right? And then I'll beat myself up about it and be like, I'm a bad leader. I didn't do this right. And
Same.
it's not always me, right? I think for me, we have such a unique culture here. Very much, you're an adult, right? We're remote. We travel a lot. We do a lot of expo shows or do, expo shows for clients. We're always on content shoots. And so there's a lot of moving parts. In a way, I am just herding cats, just in a different way now. And
Mhm.
so I really take my time to make sure someone can fit this culture because I'm not going to remind you 500 times that you have to do something. You have your calendar, you have unlimited PTO. You
Yeah.
know what you need to do. You know your client's schedule and when you need content shoots and when everything is due. I'm not your mom and I'm not your friend. I'm your boss. I'm your leader. I'm your mentor. And you're telling me I want to be here. And my job is to get you there. My job is not to baby you. And so you have you have high freedom, but you have high expectations. And not everyone can function here.
Mhm.
And I've seen that. And you really need to if you want it, I'll give you the opportunity. You want to go cover an NFL game? I'll give it to you. You can come with me. But you have to be able to say yes. And so it's this culture of you do you. I stay out of your lane. You're here for a reason. I trust you, but the expectations are sky high. And I've had to personally kind of come down on that a little bit without making people feel like everything they do is wrong. So I'm
Mhm.
always growing and learning and evolving, but it's a mindset here. You really have to just kind of want that freedom and be treated like an adult. As much as people say they want to be, give it to them. And then they're like, what do you mean I could? Yeah, no, you don't have to work at 2 o'clock. I wouldn't know any other way. But if the work's not done, you just don't, I'm going to fire you. So I think that's where my challenge is making sure I really get the right fit because it is expensive to
Yeah,
cycle through talent.
absolutely it is. What's the biggest priority for Hello Marketing's growth in the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, so we exceeded our 2025 goal, which has been amazing. And
Excellent.
for being in this area, New York, New Jersey, we have a lot of clients who have operations in Florida. And so the next natural step is to open up Florida. And then we have some opportunities in Chicago. And so kind of mapped out what these next branches and locations look like. And that's really what our focus is and making sure we get the right people in the right place and that we stay true to who we are
Mhm.
and not just taking any project to take any old project or take any old client, which is hard. It's hard to turn down money and doing more things like this. And want everyone on my team to get their personal brand out there, right? And just show the world who we are and what we do. And if you like us, great. And if you don't like us, that's fine too. And so that's really our focus is kind of seeing what Florida looks like and spending a little bit more time down there. And we have clients that have a lot of projects going on down there. I've got some great people who I think will work well in that market and just kind of sorting that out. But the immediate is I want my pipeline closed by Thanksgiving. So that we can,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Maybe a vacation this year, huh?
Yeah, we'll see.
Nikki, every guest shares one cheat code, that one insight or move that changes the marketing game in their industry. What's yours?
I don't know if it's a cheat code really, but it's to don't let your ego get in the way because I see that way too much time and time and time again. Even when we give a suggestion, they think, well, I'm right. I've always done it this way. And it's like, no, no, no. Just put the ego aside and just listen. So I would say whether you're in business, because you need to be open-minded when you're in business and running a business, and you as a leader have to put your ego aside or if you're trying to get somebody over the finish line or just approach things open-minded, don't let ego get in the way, and whatever you do, take it professionally, not personally.
And finally, if you could give one piece of advice to developers, construction owners, or property managers that are struggling to modernize their marketing, what would it be? Hire a professional?
Yes, obviously you'd hire us. Now, I would say recognize that a little bit sooner. It's very hard to come to an agency when you're on the brink of, oh my God, I need business, right? When
Mhm.
you're desperate. Because I don't like to act out of desperation and your campaigns aren't going to go right. And we're probably, if we feel under the gun, I can't say that I'm advising you the best way, and tensions are high and stress is high. So it's like, start now. Just think about, where would you be if you started now, even a baby step, and we baby step with a lot of clients. Maybe there's 6 months, right? Where would you be in 6 months? So if you recognize it, just have a conversation. Everybody thinks it's so expensive. It might not be for what you need. It might not be this major investment. It might be very manageable, which, by the way, that's relative. What someone thinks is expensive might be manageable for them. So I would say, if you guys are recognizing some gaps, or you're starting to feel like, okay, we kind of need to get with it here, just have that conversation. Reach out to someone you trust. It doesn't have to be Hello Marketing. You could reach out to anybody, but start having those conversations sooner rather than later, and learn to be proactive.
Nikki, this has been such an insightful conversation. You have
Thank
painted a different picture for me, or I see this industry through a different lens, and it's definitely more human centered. So thank you so much for
Well,
coming.
thank you for having me, Tracy. I appreciate it. This is great. Like I said, I mean, I don't really get to talk to other marketers all that much. So it's nice, because I'm sure as I'm speaking, you can relate to almost every single thing.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, if you want to learn more about how Nikki and her team are helping these industries thrive through sustainable, human centered digital marketing, visit www.hellogreenmarketing.com, or you can connect with Nikki on LinkedIn. And if today's conversation got you thinking about how to bridge your marketing strategy with smarter automation, analytics, or growth systems, that's what we do at Full Circle Marketing. We help agencies and businesses integrate AI, data, and creative execution into one seamless engine for scale. Be sure to subscribe to the Marketing Cheat Code, share this episode with a colleague, and leave a review to help more innovators discover their next growth insight. Until next time, I'm Tracey Austin Grooms, reminding you that in marketing, the smartest builders aren't just laying foundations. They're designing systems that last. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Marketing Cheat Code podcast, where smart marketers unlock their next big win. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite cheat code.